from the VON Newsline. This is the VON Major Newscast.
Good evening. I am Tashan Tyson, in with your VO Image News package for today, Tuesday, May 28, 2019. In all lead stories nationally, the federal government to clamp down on obtaining SKN citizenship under false marriage pretenses, and NRP displeased with the NIA's handling of Wali facility. Regionally, Sandals denies tax fraud as it faces a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Internationally, Ohio's tornado hurls vehicle at home, killing 81-year-old man. And in sports, India beats Bangladesh in ICC World Cup warm-up match. We'll have you taste these and other stories after this message.
Another look.
Different from how you've seen it before.
Another look.
Takes an in-depth look into business, politics, science, technology, religion, and more.
Another look.
Featuring documentaries from the BBC, regional features, and local ones too.
Another look.
Every Monday at 3 p.m. on the Eastern Caribbean's powerhouse, VON.
Welcome back. Another national news in detail. Over the past few weeks, citizenship through marriage has generated much discussion here in St. Kitts and Nevis. In May of this year, the Team Unity-led federal government made a policy shift regarding the number of years an individual can be married before citizenship can be granted. The administration approved that the Ministry of National Security can now process applications for citizenship through marriage on request, subject to the relevant legal documentation being provided. Steps are therefore being taken to ensure that this process is not being abused. Speaking under the May 23rd edition of Policing with You, Chief Immigration Officer on St. Kitts, Ms. Merslyn Hughes, outlined the steps that are being taken to ensure that citizenship obtained through this process is not being done under false pretense.
This is a process that must be followed, and although persons are thinking that as soon as I get married, I can now just get citizenship, there is still a process. And so what we're proposing down the road is that immigration becomes more involved, because we do know that there are quite a lot of sham marriages for persons who just want to acquire citizenship, and they're paid people. So we know that there would have to be a process to show that this marriage is genuine. And so persons do not just think that they would just get married and apply and boom, is granted. Investigations will have to now take place.
Chief Immigration Officer on St. Kitts, Ms. Merslyn Hughes. According to Prime Minister of St. Kitts and Nevis, Dr. Timothy Harris, the policy shift was made based on advice from the Attorney General's office to avoid matters going to the courts of law and persons being vindicated at a heavy cost to the government. Meanwhile, immigrants who want to live and work in St. Kitts and Nevis must obtain residency status through legal means in order to do such. Here in the Federation, there are 5 categories of residency under which one can apply for a stay, 3 of which are permanent, temporary, and annual residencies. But how can one go about obtaining such, and what is the significant difference between these 3 types of residencies? Deputy Chief Immigration Officer on St. Kitts, Ms. Jacqueline Brown, speaking on last week's edition of Policing with You, outlined those differences.
Temporary residence is one of those residencies that you could have gotten through marriage. If you're married to a citizen of St. Kitts and Nevis, then you could be granted temporary residence with employment. So you're free to work. Temporary residence could also be had if you are a dependent of someone with a work permit, but that form of residency comes without employment, and so that person, if they want to work, will have to themselves obtain a work permit. So children of persons with work permits, they too can acquire temporary residence. You have permanent residence, persons who have resided in St. Kitts for over 7 years and have substantial assets. They could apply for permanent residence.
The two other residencies which were expounded on were approved CARICOM citizens and work permit holder residents.
The person who comes to the Federation from CARICOM with a skill certificate, at immigration, we still give them the visitor stamp. They would have to take their documents to the Ministry of International Trade for it to be authenticated. Once that is done, then the process, they would take that now to the Ministry of National Security, where they would get the skill certificate stamp.
Just have one type of work permit, but it might be a work permit for a year. The work permit is usually for a year. It could be for a half year. Work permit for a year is for $2,500. A work permit for a half year, $1,300. And short stints. If you come to do a contract that lasts only 1 week or 2 weeks, pay $300.
Deputy Chief Immigration Officer on St. Kitts, Ms. Jacqueline Brown, and Chief Immigration Officer on St. Kitts, Ms. Merslyn Hughes. Following the commissioning of the water taxi facility at Orly on Wednesday, 15 May 2019, concerns were raised by general public here on Nevis indicating the port tax being charged. Premier of Nevis, General Mark Brantley, in speaking to the VON Newsline, sought to clear up misconceptions that had been indicating that individuals commuting daily for work will pay $1 port tax, while other individuals using the pier will be charged a $5 port tax fee and a $10 berthing fee for vessels. But what is the opposition Nevis Reformation Party's view on the new facility that has been given authorization by the Concerned Citizens Movement CCM-led Nevis Island Administration for use? Deputy Leader of the NRP, Mr. Kelvin Daly, in speaking with this media house, noted that his party has a number of issues in relation to how the government orchestrated the project when they intimated use of the project.
We supported the pier 100%. What we didn't support was the location of the pier, because it basically took the beach into a portion that was unsafe for further swimming by persons who normally would swim there. We thought the pier was better suited at either adjacent to Gin Trap or down at where the seabridge operates.
Mr. Daly also addressed the fees that are being charged for use of the facility.
I find it unconscionable for the general public to be charged any fee whatsoever to use a facility that is not yet completed. We should not be, as a traveling public or as taxpayers, accepting from anybody, any government, regardless of which side, any project that is half complete and expected paying full price. It is unconscionable, unsafe, and unnecessary. The berthing fees, I think they said it was $10 per berth per day. That can add up quite significantly for boats who are going back and forth 10, 15 times a day. I know for Sea Hustle in Charlestown, their berthing fees are flat. And all we are saying in the opposition, make everything uniform. Do not have a disparity where some people, because of convenience of going to work and thinking, I find that unconscionable and unfair.
Deputy Leader of the Nevis Reformation Party, Mr. Kelvin Daly. In 2017, the CCM-led Nevis Island Administration announced the commencement of the $5 million Orly Pier project funded by the grant from the Sugar Investment, which was expected to be completed in July of that year. The Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court, ECSC, through Judicial Education Institute, JEI, and in collaboration with PANCAP, UNICEF, Jurist, and the British High Commission, is hosting a judicial conference which will feature judges and magistrates of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. In light of the aforementioned, an opening ceremony was held today, May 28th, at the St. Kitts Marriott Beach and Casino. The JEI serves judicial officers from the 9 member states and territories of the Eastern Caribbean Supreme Court. The annual conference aims to broaden, sharpen, and further enhance the skills of its judicial officers through continuous training in pertinent areas which impact the court's work and the lives of citizens of the Eastern Caribbean. Judges will continue to meet during the forum on Wednesday, May 29th, while the magistrates will be engaged from May 28th to the 31st. According to the ECCcourts.org, the JEI of the ECSC was launched in 1997 as a committee of the Chief Justice's Office shortly after Chief Justice Sir Dennis Byron and Justice of Appeal Albert Matthew returned from attending a Judicial Education Intensive Study Program organized by the Commonwealth Judicial Education Institute, CJEI, in Halifax, Canada. In more national news.
I am happy to report that the construction is going at a pace after some hiccups that we would have had over the past months. And I am to report that the two contractors who are on the project are going along quite nicely. We have Clive Evelyn. He is responsible for the area that would house the operating theatre and the radiology. 100% of the steel frame is up, and about 85% of the block work has been completed. And then the other wing that is done by Wedge Pemberton, he is taking care of the physical therapy and the lab area, and that is shaping up quite nicely as well.
That's Nevis's Junior Minister of Health, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. She was at the time giving an update on the construction of the new wing at the Alexandra Hospital during last Thursday's edition of the Nevis Island Administration's Government at Work program, which is aired here on VON Radio. In spite of the delays, Mrs. Brandy Williams also provided a time frame as to when the project will be completed.
I have been advised by Mr. Billy Claxton, who is the construction manager on the project, that we are looking at the first quarter of 2021. So somewhere between April of 2021, we should have a completed wing.
Nevis's Junior Minister of Health, the Honorable Hazel Brandy Williams. Construction of the new wing at the hospital began in 2017. After its completion, the new unit will house a new operating theatre, a new private ward, a new physiotherapy department, a new laboratory, and a dialysis unit. The position of St. Kitts Nevis Labour Party, SKNLP, has said that the time has come for the list of registered voters to be placed online, where it would be convenient following the issue of malfunctioning machine. That's according to the party's deputy leader, the Honorable Marcella Liburd. On Friday, May 24th, representatives of the party held a protest outside the electoral office in St. Kitts to raise awareness on issues at the agency. Among the issues highlighted by the party were the continued malfunctioning machine, removal of names from the voter lists, and the failure to place the revised monthly list at a location where it could be visible by the public. MP Liburd also said that the Labour Party would support the initiative of the voters list being placed online. The Honourable Conwys Maynard suggested that the government should purchase a new machine to continue in the registration of eligible voters. Meantime, Deputy Prime Minister the Honourable Sean Richards has assured the nationals of St. Kitts and Nevis that the Supervisor of Elections and the staff at the Electoral Office continue to carry out their functions effectively and responsibly to ensure that citizens qualified to vote are duly registered. Minister Richards warned that the political motivated action would only serve to disrupt the daily operations of the Electoral Office and undermine the confidence that our people have regained in the democratic process since the shenanigans carried on by the Labour Party during the last general elections. Additionally, in his attempt to allay anxiety, he mentioned that the printing of the national ID cards was suspended due to technical difficulties. However, he intimated that citizens and residents of St. Kitts and Nevis would still be eligible to vote in an election once registered and can present a proper government-issued ID. In more national news.
What is considered probably to be the most prestigious award, Hotel of the Year, and that was won by Nisbet Plantation Beach Club.
This award was presented at the annual Nevis Tourism Industry Awards ceremony on May 25, 2019, held on the grounds of Government House at Bath Plain. The award was accepted by Mrs. Pamela Martin, Resort Manager, on behalf of the Nisbet Plantation from First Lady Mrs. Sharon Brantley. The aim of the award ceremony was to recognize and reward the achievements of industry's workers, partners, and stakeholders. The award ceremony marked the end of the month of activities for Exposition Nevis, which was held under the theme Celebrating Nevis's Tourism Through Festivals. And finally, The other awardees of the Nevis Tourism Industry Awards were Nevis for Hotel Manager of the Year 2019 presented to Miss Ashina Farrell of the Four Seasons Resort. Long Service Awards were presented to Miss Jacinth Morton of the Golden Rock Inn. The Tourism Entrepreneurship Award presented to Miss Eldaria Jones of Mobile Wear Necessities. The Taxi Operator of the Year was presented to Miss Thelma Claxton of TC Island Tours. Nevis Cultural Tourism Lifetime Achievement Award presented to Joseph Jago Brandy. Tourism Star Award went to Mr. Derek Falk Liebert, Head Groundsman of Nevis Heritage Village. Recognition Award for contributions to the development of festivals in Nevis was presented to Mr. Clefton Miko Warner, and Recognition Award went to Mr. Nelson Stapleton for 13 years of service as Supervisor of Beach Patrol. That's the national news segment. You can visit our website at www.vonradio.com or check us out on Facebook at Von Radio or our Von Radio YouTube channel for these and other stories. News from across the region is next.
Ladies and gentlemen, this here's another one for the steppers.
Swipe to win big in 2019. That's right, the Bank of Nevis Limited is once again giving you, our valued customers, a chance to win big. Just swipe or use your Bond Visa credit card for US $100 for a chance to win a cruise for two, an iPhone XS, or a grocery dash at Best Buy Supermarket.
Say what?
Sign up for a Bond Visa credit card and automatically be entered for a chance to win. This offer ends August 31st, 2019. So tell your friends and family to swipe to win big with the Bank of Nevis. The Bank of Nevis Limited, improving the quality of life. Like us on Facebook or follow us on Instagram.
Welcome back. Another regional news in detail. Out of Jamaica. A Jamaican hotel chain, Sandals Resorts International, faces a $5 million lawsuit alleging that it has pocketed monies it collected from guests as government taxes. It has strongly denied the allegations, saying they are downright false. The class action lawsuit filed this week in Florida, United States, by Miami-based law firm Lipcon, McGillis, Asina, and Winkleman alleges that the Butch Stewart-owned Sandals has engaged in a decades-long tax fraud scheme. It claims that all-inclusive Sandals properties throughout the Caribbean charged guest fees that they said were local government taxes, but the money was either all in or part being secretly retained by the company for its own use, benefit, and profit. The law firm said it was therefore aggressively pursuing litigation against the hotel chain. It is seeking a jury trial, but denying any wrongdoings. Sandals Resorts International said it intends to vigorously defend those claims. Out of Barbados. This week, more than 500 delegates from 20 Caribbean countries will be gathering in Bridgetown, Barbados, to discuss priorities and solutions to tackle climate and disaster risks at the Understanding Risk UR Caribbean Conference. The conference is organized by the World Bank in partnership with the Government of Barbados, the Caribbean Disaster Emergency Management Agency (CDEMA), and the European Union (EU), under the auspices of Prime Minister Mia Mottley. During the week-long conference, 3 regional programs supporting Caribbean countries to plan for long-term resilience and climate-smart growth strategies will be launched, including the Caribbean Regional Resilience Building Facility and the Technical Assistance Program for Disaster Risk Financing and Insurance in Caribbean overseas countries and territories financed by the European Union, as well as the Canada Caribbean Resilience Facility financed by the Government of Canada. All projects will aim to provide a total funding of $49.6 million towards the targets. The Understanding Risk Caribbean Conference provides an opportunity to bring together disaster risk management practitioners with governments, urban planners, insurance industry stakeholders, private sector organizations, academia, multilateral development banks, and other regional partners to collectively take action to address and reduce disaster risk. It will feature demonstrations hosted by institutions and organizations such as the University of the West Indies, Harvard University, NASA, the Organization of Eastern Caribbean States, OECS, and the United Nations Office for Disaster Risk Reduction, to name a few. And finally, out of Dominica. Prime Minister and political leader of the Dominican Labour Party, DLP, Roosevelt Skerritt, is gearing up for the upcoming general elections as he presented Octavia teacher Bonnie Alfred, a former high school principal and wife of a pastor, as a DLP candidate for the Castle Bruce constituency. Addressing supporters decked in red at the playing field in Siquin, Castle Bruce, Skerritt made a compelling case on behalf of Alfred to the voters by stating the United Workers' Party, UWP, is in Roseau launching 21 candidates. This evening, the DLP is in Castle Bruce launching one candidate. Skerritt further distinguished the DLP from the UWP, reminding supporters and prospective voters of the difference between qualitative and quantitative. This is the lady that I would not want to run against as a candidate. She is a well-rounded and competent woman. Skerritt proudly proclaimed that Dominica at present, following the passage of Hurricane Maria 20 months ago, is in a very precarious state. In his conclusion, he said to the crowd present that you need to vote so as to keep Dominica afloat. That's it for the regional stories. Stay with us for news from around the world. Welcome back. Another international news in detail. An elderly man died when a tornado picked up a vehicle and smashed it into his house in Ohio, officials say. The 81-year-old of Salina, Ohio, was killed by one of 53 suspected twisters that pulverized 8 U.S. states on Monday. Based on a report from the BBC, the damage was so severe in Ohio that authorities reportedly used snowplow trucks to clear away debris. Ohio saw 9 suspected tornadoes, while 14 hit neighboring Indiana, according to forecasters. Also on Monday, there were 11 apparent twisters in Colorado, 4 in Illinois, 5 in Nebraska, 6 in Iowa, and 3 in Minnesota. There was even one as far out west in the country as Idaho, according to the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration Storm Prediction Center. A Hindu veterinary doctor in southeast Pakistan has been charged under the country's strict blasphemy laws after allegedly selling medicine wrapped in paper bearing Islamic religious texts. An angry crowd set fire to his clinic near Mirpurkhas, Sindh province, and other Hindu-owned shops were looted. The vet said his use of the paper, apparently torn from an Islamic studies school textbook, was a mistake. If he is convicted, he could be sentenced to life in prison. Pakistan's blasphemy laws carry harsh penalties for anyone who insults Islam. Critics say they target a disproportionate number of people from religious minorities. That brings us to the end of our news segments. The latest in sports is next.
Need a car but don't quite have the deposit?
You don't need a deposit with Suzuki Sign and Drive at TDC Automotive. Choose your Suzuki vehicle, sign up and drive out. Get a brand new vehicle with zero deposit, 5 years warranty, 1 year servicing, special financing and insurance, free flat screen TV with 3 months Flow TV package, free undercoating, free car care bundle, and so much more. Come in, sign up, drive out. Suzuki Sign and Drive at TDC Automotive. Terms and conditions apply.
Welcome back, and now the sports in detail. In cricket, India defeated Bangladesh today, May 28th, in an ICC World Cup warm-up match at Cardiff, UK. The ICC Cricket World Cup in the International Championships of One-Day International Cricket and is organized by the sports governing body, the International Cricket Council, every 4 years. Scores were as follows: India 359 for 7, Bangladesh 264. India won by 95 runs. In local cricket, as the Nevis Cricket Association's 40 overs per side tournament continues, the Highlights Hawks went up against the Empire Eagles on Sunday, May 26th. The Hawks won the toss and sent the Eagles into bat first. Summarized scores were as follows: Empire Eagles 225 all out, Kezwan Archibald 73, Alvin Hadayadal 46, Nelson Boland 2 for 17, Hakeem Harvey 2 for 21, Giovanni Tyson 2 for 48, Malik Wallace 2 for 31, Likim Phipps 1 for 13, Jamie Cornelius 1 for 55. Empire Eagles 193 all out, Andrew Brown 34, Nelson Boland 26, Chevron Jeffers 23, Adelvin Phillip 4 for 49, Tawan Prentice 2 for 36, Jajari Clark 1 for 12, Akito Willett 1 for 38. Empire Eagles winning by 32 runs. Next match is slated for Saturday, June 1st at 12 noon at the ETW Park, and we'll see the Highlights Hawks versus All Stars Flamingos. And finally, the annual Winako Morton TDC Primary Schools Cricket League will begin on Thursday, May 30th. A brief opening ceremony will take place at the E.T. Willett Park at 9 a.m. and this will be followed by the first match when defending champions Ivor Waters Primary engage the St. Thomas's Primary. The next game is slated for the Hard Times playing field on Friday, May 31st at 1:30 p.m. when home team Georgetown Library Primary will face the Elizabeth Pemberton Primary. Meantime, the following players have been selected to represent the St. Kitts Cricket Masters in the Leeward Islands Masters Cricket Tournament in Antigua from June 6 to June 10, 2019. Captain Greg Stanley, Codville Rogers, Jatin Kumar Patel, Alfonso Hendrickson, Garfield Rogers, Charles Morton, Jason Sadler, Bernard Island, Austin Williams, Kevin Hanley, Sherman White, Bertel Harris, Sean Liebert, Kenneth Douglas, Lionel Philip Webb, Joni Mitchum, Harwood Williams, and manager Captain Isles. And that's it for sports. The general weather forecast is next. Welcome back, and now the local weather forecast for St. Kitts and Nevis. There will be partly cloudy skies tonight with a 40% or moderate chance of some late night showers. Winds are east to southeast at 15 to 28 kilometers per hour or 8 to 15 knots with lighter spells overnight. Seas are 1.2 to 1.8 meters or 4 to 6 feet with swells of 5 feet or 1.5 meters. High surf advisory remain in effect. Sunrise tomorrow will be at 5:36 a.m. And that's how we wrap up the major news package for today, Tuesday, May 28th, 2019. Before we go, let's take a look at the headlines once again. Nationally, the federal government to clamp down on obtaining SKN citizenship under false marriage pretenses. And NRP displeased with the NIA's handling of Orly facility. Regionally, Sandals denies tax fraud as it faces a multi-million-dollar lawsuit. Internationally, Ohio tornado hurls vehicle at home, killing 81-year-old man. and in sports. India beats Bangladesh in ICC World Cup warm-up match. On behalf of the rest of the news team, I am Tashan Tyson, wishing you a pleasant evening.